Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 3 with Black Ice 8 and Third Reich events. As you notice, we are really messed up here with supplies. It's part of the strangeness of the Hearts of Iron 3 engine, basically the broke supply systems that they have here. So it does negatively affect us, but nothing really we could do about it unless we actually go to arcade mode, which I don't quite look at it as cheating, but it's not the best thing. He still determines whether a unit is in supply or not, but you can have 10 core sitting in some desert province fully in supply. And I think most of us agree that that isn't quite realistic. And most of us want a realistic or some sort of version thereof experience playing these, because that's why we are not just playing a game, we're playing a war game of World War II. Okay, now pilot training has advanced. One of my sort of pet favorites. As an attempt to. Now, we haven't gotten into the point of needing it. Notice how well these guys are doing. They're not being hit. They are bombing strategically. So they're going after here, hoping to reduce national unity of the Soviets. Not liking all of that for us, but we'll get through it. But I'm having them only operate at night, so that may be helping. Okay, that looks like it's failing. Too much opposition, river. What's the terrain? Well, just forest, but still. We've reignited our assault here. Now that they sort of move back to Narva. This isn't going so well. Let's add these guys into the mix. Oh good, that did it. We got Talon. It'll take a little while to actually occupy it, but I don't think they're going to come back and get back into Talon before we can occupy it. Or Tallinn, or however best to pronounce it, not always sure. Back to the supply issues. And yeah, I want them to be real supply, but I want them also to work in some real manner as well. I know most of you have seen the development diary and how supply has been removed from parts of iron 4. Don't know how well that system's going to work out in the end. May do alright, but I like the concept of supply and fuel. And I want to say I do appreciate all the people that have been posting recently. I know a bunch of you more or less have sort of, either in the first series or this series, you've sort of, I don't know, said what you sort of had to say, if you will, or something. That's fine, but hoping the discussion helps me to know who I'm talking to as I make these videos. It's not that I need a face or a name. It's much more of a interest level, knowledge level kind of thing. Okay, good. We're getting that pocket reduced. So we just lost this battle. I'm gonna let them move in there and retreat out. If they want to all retreat into here, I'd rather fight them in the plains than in the swamp. In that swamp, yeah. Yep, swamp. Okay, so they think they're going to expand there too. I don't know that that's going to work out for them. I'm a little concerned about this northern front here because, well, maybe Finland will absorb enough of it. With all the armor that was stuck up here, that it may be coming to get me. How are we doing down here? And yeah, fairly well actually. Oh good, got this province. Gun. We're gonna move this one really good mechanized unit that I could probably use in Russia too, but as some of you may have been following the new Black Ice game, which I've only just played a few minutes of just to sort of kind of look at it quickly. They've beefed up some of the things like partisans in France and made them a lot more challenging. And Yugoslavia here as well. Punish the enemy railway, Belarus railroad. That they've done that, beefed up the partisans, which is maybe a bit more than I don't know, realistically done historically, but just the mechanics of the game may sort of require them to. And it's sort of the choices, because if you look at, you know, I think it's easily almost 75% of the German army was fighting on the, oh good, won the Battle of Yalta, on the Eastern Front. But what, in my opinion, and I think a lot of historians think this, is what brought down the Germans was their distractions as much as their, if you will, main front attacks failing. Because how do I put this? Like we were just talking about that one good mechanized division in India, which is doing very good service there. Do I even need to be in India? Should I be concentrated in the Soviets? Well, sort of yes and sort of no. I think this southern front here is critical. It's costing me very few troops, but it's still affecting, if you will, the main battle of the battle for Russia. It's sort of like this is also a distraction, but it's also a distraction of they're attacking here, they're going to exhaust themselves, but it's tying up some armor divisions, and if they exhaust themselves correctly, then we'll be able to move and put it on another front. But this isn't tying up anybody in Russia here, where these other sideshows are tying up Russian resources, Russian capabilities. I think I lost a unit there. And they've advanced out. Let's make sure they don't break out of the Crimea. But it doesn't take, I'm trying to think how to put this well. Because the sideshow of, if you will, North Africa at first, and then the Mediterranean front as it continued to expand once they lost North Africa, which that's really the second front. The sort of Stalinistic view, oh, we need a second front to start, which he's meaning here, is just a self-serving approach for the Soviet Union to remove pressure from them. But this was relieving a lot of pressure. And it's not just like a partisan front in Yugoslavia and Greece, if you will, in which you can dump in second or third rate level troops. You don't need the most highly combat motivated, the most technologically advanced, most heavily mechanized forces to deal with partisans. You can put in Granddad and a musket almost, and he and a bunch of his buddies can guard a bridge. Yeah, the partisans can get together enough opposition to take that bridge, but there's 100 other places also equally guarded, so which ones do they do? And you just need a small, like we see in today's anti-partisan or anti-terrorist or anti-guerrilla warfare, small elite units to go on the offense, while you just have, you know, the local Afghani, whatever, police, military, tribal forces guard whatever towns, while the special forces go in on the offensive, unlimited direct things. And that's what you can have in this type of a theater. But you need to, when you're facing up against the US and Britain, you need first-rate troops with first-rate equipment. You can't do it as a secondary force, and well, can't do it successfully. So all of those planes, good anti-tank guns, good tanks, they're all being drawn away from critical offensives in the east. And because I hope we won't have a Operation Citadel, and I won't go into it too much right now, but Operation Citadel would have been a great success had they, once the pocket formed, I don't know, 2 weeks later or some amount of time, they'd counterattacked. But because it took them so long to literally build equipment, because they got the first Panthers there, now it seemed like maybe overstating it, but half of them broke down on the way to the battle, just driving from the railhead to the battle. That's because the tanks hadn't been properly debugged, if you will, before being put into service, because they were being rushed because of the general conditions of the war, not just Operation Citadel, but they were rushed there for this operation. And the Germans had to build equipment to be able to fight that, and it became a disaster because it was such apparent as to where it was going to happen. The Soviets were able to build and do a good offensive, or a defensive within a counteroffensive within that. And so when you're having all that time to have to build up and react, it becomes a problem. But had you had a significant reserve, those forces which are fighting in the west somewhere, had they been sitting in the, somewhere, back in here recouping, units that have seen forward fighting, send them back, get them re-equipped, remand, and all that stuff. Had they just been ready to immediately be shipped up to the front to counteract a major Soviet offensive, things would have been fine. Additionally, look at all the forces I've got over here. Now, should I be putting them in the east? Probably. And I don't know if I'm going to get to that point of doing that, because you and I have foreknowledge that we're not going to be seeing, or should I be sending them down here, which is another thing that they may do. Because we're not going to see the game's scripted invasions. Now, I know a likely spot for the scripted invasions are here, but I also know that they can be, at least, anywhere along in here. There's several possibilities, so I can't just pick a spot for them and know that. Well, I sort of kind of, if I dig into the code and when I see some stuff, figure it out. But I'm not going to do that. So I've got a force setup here of admittedly weaker Char Bs, because these have foreign tags, so they don't get upgraded like the regular German units. Renault 35s, these kind of things over here, that Salma tanks, that are over here that aren't going to be as good fighting on the Eastern Front. Now the even the anti-tank guns, would help out. So had I put these 2 armored corps in the east, they'd really be helping out, believe me. But they wouldn't be equal to the good heavy corps that are already over there. Not quite equal to what I've got, but they'd be helping out. But it shows the distraction. And so what they're trying to do with their beefed up partisan forces is to keep you from make you do what I'm doing already here. I'm planning on playing. I don't know if I'm going to record it, just because it takes a lot of time to record and put up. But planning on playing at least part of a campaign with the new 8.5, just to test the new TRE once I get it done. I'm mostly done. And I hope it's not going to be some hell situation if I do more or less what I'm doing here, by not ignoring the forces, by having some forces, and even if I have to run a few, these panzer divisions around to smash partisans a few times, that'll be okay, and I can beef this up a little bit more with a little more of these relatively cheap out of any partisan units. But you saw I had to build all these units, and that is keeping me from building a few more mechanized divisions that I could have built. So, well, I guess this episode's gone long enough. Well, it's not that long, but I sort of need to get going for other reasons as well. So, again, thanks for liking the videos. Please subscribe if you haven't, because I want you guys to stay around and know what's going on. And I do want to hear from you. Been chatting with a few of you, and it helps me get to know my audience, like I was saying, and so we know, I'm not everybody's going to be an expert, but it does sort of let me know that those that are well informed on World War II, just how well informed that is, and so I can a little better tailor my comments towards that. Thanks so much.